Hey guys, I'm Elizabeth McCravey, a website designer and business coach for entrepreneurs and your host for the Breakthrough Brand podcast, the show that's all about pulling back the curtain on how to actually build a successful business. I don't skim the surface around here. If you want a deep dive into the nitty-gritty details of what it takes to run a successful business and stand out in a crowd, you're in the right place. After creating a multiple six-figure-a-year website design business in my 20s, I'm ready to share everything I've learned and everything I'm still learning because I believe the keys to building a thriving business should never be a secret. Here you'll find episodes that are actionable, direct, and fun, like friends chatting business over coffee, and a fresh, honest take on the reality of being an entrepreneur. If you're ready to master online marketing, branding, website design, mindset, and business strategy, then this is the podcast for you. It's time to build your breakthrough brand. Let's do this. All right, guys, so I am here with part 2 of our Showit website templates Q&A. I hope you enjoyed the previous episode where I went through 6 top questions we get about my Showit website template shop. And now I'm just continuing that. So these are just more questions. There's timestamps in the show notes. If you want to skip around, if you're like, oh, I have that particular question, I want to hear the answer to that, go ahead and skip to that one. And if you missed the episode before this, that's totally fine. You don't have to have listened to that one first. These episodes can stand alone. And my hope here is that if you're someone who's considered getting a template from MShop, that you'll be able to have more clarity on that. Again, these are the questions that we are seeing the most in our inbox from potential customers. So I want to help you have clarity on the answers to these questions so that you can make a decision about your template. So I hope you enjoy this. And as always, if you have continued questions with this, if you're okay, I heard what you said in the podcast, but I need that explained a little bit more, email us, hello@elizabethmccravey.com, and we can chat with you to get you really fully understanding this. And I'm hoping this episode feels like friends just chatting over coffee about website stuff. I'm going to take the techie language out of it and keep it really simple and fun. So without further ado, let's start with question number 1. All right, so question number 1, do your website templates integrate with this software I'm currently using? So fill in the blank with any kind of software. So you're likely coming to your website with other tools you use in your business, or if you're a new business owner, you're over here hey, I heard great things about Dubsado. I heard about Honeybook. I'm thinking about Flowdesk. Whatever it is, does that work with your templates too? And so the answer to that is typically yes. If it's something that you would embed onto a website, which embedding just simply means the company's providing you with some code, which you do not need to understand the code. You don't need to be able to read it, edit it, anything like that. But they're providing you with some code that you need to paste somewhere to then make their thing show up. So to make the form in Dubsado, to make the ConvertKit opt-in show up, that sort of thing. If it's something you embed, then it should work. And if you don't embed it, you can still likely use it with Showit by linking out to it. So some common integrations that we're asked about that all work really great with Showit. This is not an extensive list, but these are some that come to mind. So CRMs like Dubsado, Honeybook, 17 Hats all work great. Email marketing tools, literally any of them you can think of. So to name some really popular ones, Flowdesk, ConvertKit, MailChimp, MailerLite, ActiveCampaign, Kajabi, all of those are going to integrate with Showit. Call schedulers. So things like Acuity and Calendly. I personally use Calendly. Acuity works too. And there's other ones out there as well, but those all work. Cart softwares, things like ThriveCart, WooCommerce, Shopify Lite. All of those are going to integrate well. And then if you're hosting an online course somewhere, so you're thinking okay, Elizabeth, I want to use your template, but my course is on Thinkific. Does that integrate? So if you have an online course like Kajabi, Teachable, Thinkific, again, Podia, I think that's one of them I might pronounce. Podia, there's another one that's a newer one out there, something like that. Those all can link directly from your website. So that's easy to do too. So if you want to be able to link out to the student login, you link out to that page on Kajabi. If you want to link out to the cart from Teachable, whatever it is, all works really easily. So maybe you're wanting to link to your social media and you're wondering about that. That works as well. You can link out to your Instagram. You can put a preview of your feed in the footer of the site, all that kind of stuff. Your podcast software to embed episodes, you can do that. Things like countdown timers like Deadline Funnel or Power.io, those work. Sale counters. I have one on my site that I really love that tells when new sales are happening and who bought what. And it just kind of says 15 minutes ago, so-and-so bought this. You can add that very easily. You can use Google Analytics. I mean, gosh, there's so many. I'm trying to think of others, but if the software is something, like I said, where the company is giving you some embed code to add to your website, or they're giving you a link that you can link out to, going back to what I said about a student login page, and the answer is yes, they'll definitely work with MShop templates. And I have videos in the Showit Blueprint course that you get with your purchase that'll help you kind of see even more clearly how to install some of these things. And so if I didn't mention the software you're thinking of, you're like, okay, you talked about all these, but you didn't mention the one I'm thinking about, email us, hello@elizabethmccravey.com. I'd love to help you figure out if it works or not, and maybe even point you towards some directions of how to integrate it. Okay, so moving on to question number 2. This one is so common. So I'm struggling with which template to pick. I really love X, but I also love Y. How do I pick? So again, this is really common, but I would actually say this is probably the most common question we get. So no, you're not alone if you struggle with which template to go with. And this whole struggle is actually a reason why I don't want to be a shop that has 1,000 templates to pick from, because it just makes the decision so much harder. I want to be these are the ones that are going to work great for you. Pick from these and not have a huge selection. So anyway, I want to give you 3 tips though for picking your template if this is something that you're I can't decide between these 2 different ones. So one thing would be to take the website personality quiz. It matches you with suggestions based on your answers. It's a fun quiz, really chill, and people say it's super accurate. So that's a fun one. Focus on the layout more than the colors and the business it's modeled for. So for example, you might be a photographer, but you're looking at the Sophie template, which is kind of modeled more for a business coach. And you're I'm a photographer, but that's the one I want. That does not mean the Sophie template is not a good fit for you. It still has what you need as a photographer. It's just a different layout, and different vibes and different fonts. So focus on the layout you like best. Everything is editable, as I already said, in the episode prior to this one, but the actual positioning of everything is something you probably won't want to edit too much. And that's what I mean when I say the layout. So don't focus on okay, this one's a coach. I'm a coach. I have to buy this one. This one's a photographer. I'm a photographer. I have to buy that one. Focus on the layout. And then another tip, think about your own content in the template, which feels like a better fit for your stuff. I would try to visualize your business into it, which I know sometimes it's harder said than done, but just think about, okay, what would I want to put in this section? What would I want to use this page for? Would I want to this page is meant to be a contact page, but maybe I want to reinvent it to be a page to apply for my coaching program, whatever it is. Try to think through, how am I going to use this? And see which template feels like a better match from that perspective. And then remind yourself that it's all customizable. So there's a tiny thing you don't love, but the rest of the template you're obsessed with, it's likely easy to change. And that's something too that we see people say, maybe they don't love the menu position. They're I'd rather have a menu across the top, but this one has a hamburger menu. Easy to change. Maybe you don't love the color palette so much, but you love the layout. Easy to change. And so just remember that. Keep in mind that's super customizable. And something too to note that's really fun. If you love the color palette of one template, but you're I really want to buy this other template. So just to make up an example, let's say you want the Jenna template because you love the layout of that the most, but then you're looking at the Gabby template and you're these colors are totally me. That's the color palette I want to use. Email us and we can tell you the palette of that template, and then you can just add it into the template you're buying. So you could have the color palette of the Gabby template, but then the layout of the Jenna template, if that makes sense. So yeah, just know it's possible. And I know these decisions are hard. Like I said, this is one reason why I don't want to have 1,000 options to pick from. There aren't that many in my shop to even make you go through to make a decision. And so I would say too, just go with your gut outside of all those little tips I just gave, whichever one you feel you're maybe you were most instinctively drawn to this one when you saw it, maybe that's the right one for you. Don't overthink it. Making a decision is better than being stuck in indecision mode forever and then never having a website up for your business. So there you go. That's number 2. Okay. Number 3, who are your templates not right for? So in most cases, if you really love the template, it resonates with you, you feel drawn to it, it looks like it's going to work well for your business, then it's probably that it's right for you. But I will say there's one factor in particular that I would say make my templates and Showit too in general not a good fit for your business. And that would be if you are strictly an e-commerce business. So Showit does not have built-in e-commerce. Again, that does not mean you can't sell stuff. I have a template shop, for example, that we're talking about here, and all of it's on Showit. So clearly you can sell stuff on Showit. You can have a shop. And I have many template customers who do that. But if you sell a ton of items and you need to change them out a lot, they need to be categorized super specific ways. You need to be able to do sales and like people bulk ordering things together and things like that. Then something like Shopify is going to be better for you. And that's actually what I would recommend for an e-commerce business. So I don't want to scare you off though if you do have products, because again, myself and plenty of others do sell products with Showit. But if you do need like a lot, Shopify, but then if you do just need like a little shopping cart functionality, then Shopify Lite is going to be perfect for you to add to your site. Right now, at the time of recording this, it's $9 a month for the lower tier of that. And you can have like a shop embedded onto your Showit site. And then if you sell something like a membership site or online courses, and that's actually like so easy to do with Showit, you're just going to want to use a built-in cart software of wherever you're hosting it for your cart. So like, let's say you have a course on Kajabi, then you could just use the Kajabi cart page and you're linking to that from your sales page within Showit. For other shop options, Thrivecart's awesome. That's what I use and I love it. If you want to try Thrivecart, elizabethmccravy.com/Thrivecart can get you a good deal on that. Same thing for Kajabi, elizabethmccravy.com/Kajabi if you want to do a free trial of that. Those are both like great options. I would highly recommend Kajabi for online courses and Thrivecart for a more shop-based business where people are just needing to buy one product at a time. And then Shopify Lite, if you're needing people to be able to add multiple things to their cart and then check out. But again, if you have like a big e-commerce business with tons and tons of products, don't use Showit, don't use my templates. But otherwise, I would say in most cases, these are going to be perfect for your business, especially those of you who are running service businesses or online courses, memberships, all of that kind of stuff. Interrupting this episode with a suggestion for the small business owners listening. Ever wonder what you should do for healthcare when you and your spouse are both self-employed so there's no work-provided health insurance to participate in? Well, when my husband Adam joined me in the entrepreneurial job space over 4 years ago, we joined Christian Healthcare Ministries instead of getting traditional health insurance. And it was the best decision for us, especially in these years of growing and raising a family while also running multiple businesses. CHM is a health cost-sharing ministry and is a faith-based alternative to health insurance. We did tons of research before choosing CHM, and if you know me and Adam, you know we are all about doing the math when making big or small financial decisions. And even though it's not insurance, CHM shares 100% of eligible medical bills, which is more than the typical 70 or 80% of medical bills paid for by insurance companies. All sharing is determined by the CHM guidelines, which you can check out before and after joining. And for the mamas and mamas-to-be listening, you truly cannot find a better healthcare option for maternity care. I had a vaginal delivery and a C-section and birth center care and hospital care between my 2 pregnancies and births, and it was all 100% shared for. And outside of birth, we've had our share of emergency room visits and procedures as a family, and those costs were all shared by members at Christian Healthcare Ministries, leaving us only paying our monthly contribution. CHM is less expensive month to month than insurance, and because there's no network, you can choose your care with whichever providers best fit your family. I seriously just cannot recommend Christian Healthcare Ministries enough. You've got to check them out. Go to elizabethmccravy.com/CHM for more information. Also putting that link in the show notes, elizabethmccravy.com/CHM. Now back to the episode. Okay, so we just talked about who the templates are not for, but then another question we get is like, will your templates work for my industry? What industries are using this? I see that this is modeled like I was talking about earlier for a coach, but I do this, like, will it work for me? So the showcase page on my site is a great spot to see all the different businesses of our users. That's elizabethmccravy.com/showcase. So totally just go on that page and scroll through it, maybe even while you're listening right now. But the top group of people using my templates is probably coaches, and literally every kind of coach under the sun, like life coaches, business, career coaches, coaches, finance, relationship, leadership, Enneagram coaches, video coaches. And the other things that are more in like the health and wellness space, like yoga teachers, nutritionists, personal trainers. There's a lot of people in those fields. And then we also support a lot of photographers and then like wedding industry professionals, like event planners, videographers, florists, wedding venues. There's quite a few of those, and that sort of thing. And then photographers too, outside of the wedding industry. So we have a lot of like senior photographers, brand photographers, and that sort of thing. And then I would say the third biggest group would be online-based service providers. So virtual assistants, bookkeepers, OBMs, social media managers, copywriters, marketing pros, brand designers, so many things of that nature that are just, again, providing online-based services. And then some others worth noting. Again, I could go on and on, but just listen for maybe you hearing your own business type in here. But like we've had authors, bloggers, a whole lot of course creators and like online educators, ministries and nonprofits, interior designers, realtors, home organizers, vacation rentals. That's really fun. Counselors and psychologists, stationery designers, financial service providers, accountants. I already mentioned bookkeepers, but like that whole industry, and even wedding websites. So my friend Jenna actually, it's her photos in the Jenna template, but she used the Leanne template to put up her wedding info site for guests. So instead of using one of those companies that's like trying to sell you a wedding website, she was like, I love Showit. I love working with Elizabeth's templates. I'm just going to make my own. And so she did that with the Leanne template. So like, seriously, there's so many like different ways you can do this. And I could go on and on, but that gives you a great like fast picture of who is using these. And you can look at the showcase page too for even more. Again, that was like not an extensive list, or just email us. Like I was saying earlier, if you were like, hey, I do this type of business, do you think it'd work for me? Shoot us an email and we can let you know maybe a template suggestion or just answering the question if it'll work for you or not. All right, so we've got 2 questions left. This is a really big one. Number 5, if I happen to run into an issue and I can't figure something out, what happens? What kind of support do you offer? How can I get help? How often does that happen? That sort of thing. So my team and I are here to help you when it comes to getting support. And that's not true of all template shops. And you can email us anytime with your specific question, like a tech question, a question about something specific on the templates, whatever it is. And I will say our response time's pretty quick. And I'm pretty proud of that. That's something that you have to work pretty hard for. We have a quick response time. We don't do emailing on the weekends though, or on holidays. So we take off for that. But we'll even do things like log into your account to help you problem solve. So we might ask like, hey, send your Showit login and we'll look into that for you, make a video for you to kind of show you the answer to that. And then when help needed goes beyond like questions answering and like that sort of support and you need more help, we do offer hourly edits and help at a really reasonable fee. So some customers use our support a lot. Others buy a template and they don't have any questions and they get it up without any help. It totally depends. So just know if you're like, okay, I think I'm going to be someone that like needs support help. I want to be able to email. I want to be able to chat with someone and like send a screenshot and ask a question. You're in the right place. We'll help you with that. And if you're someone who's like, I'm really good at Showit already and I don't need help, then cool. Like that's great for you too. The templates are set up in a way that like you could not even need our help. And then you also get access to our signature course, the Showit Blueprint course. And that is something too that like I think cuts back even on how much support we do because the course has so many of the answers in it right there. And I have many customers say that it's worth the price on its own. Read the reviews for it. People say this all the time. It teaches you how to use Showit in an easy to follow way. I've actually had many people buy M-Shop templates because they're like, I want to learn Showit. Like maybe you're a designer and you're like, hey, I need to learn how to use Showit. Buy a template, take the course. That's a great way to do that. So teach you how to use Showit in an easy to follow way. And the videos are short. They're high quality. They're going to feel similar to this podcast. So if you enjoy listening here, the videos are going to feel similar to that, but with me screen sharing with you and walking you through how to do things. And if you want to see an insider video tour of the course where I'm like screen sharing, showing you what it all looks like, go to elizabethmccravey.com/course-video. And then you can see that there. But to kind of read you, I actually just have in my notes here 2 different testimonials. Again, there's more on that page, but from people talking about how helpful that course was. So Lauren Cunningham said, without Elizabeth's Showit Blueprint course, I would have been lost. Absolutely love the ease of customizing. I am not tech savvy, but that did not matter. That's such a huge win. And then Anne Clayson said, the huge advantage of buying an MShop template is the complimentary course on how to edit the template. This course saved my life when making this new website a reality. It was very clear what to do and why. I also love all the extra info on SEO and copywriting that the course provided. So again, in addition to both of those things, we offer support. We have the Showit Blueprint course. Showit also offers great customer support right from within your Showit account. And that's not true of a lot of website builders. You can literally talk to someone in Arizona who works for Showit, and they will give you support in that chat. So like if you're logged into your Showit account, it's just in the right-hand corner. You can click there and chat with someone. And then Showit also has a ton of help docs that answer common questions people have. So sometimes when you're chatting with Showit support, they might refer you to like, here's this help doc. It's going to walk you through exactly how to do what you're asking about. And then a third kind of support Showit has is there's a Showit user Facebook group, and that can be helpful for crowdsourcing community replies about different issues. That's really good for like if you want a big broad opinion on something even, or if you do have a more technical question. So you have my support like in the inbox from MShop, you have the Showit Blueprint course, and then you have Showit's chat support, you have Showit's help docs, and you have the Showit user Facebook group. So you are set to get this website set up for your business basically. So if you ever feel like, oh no, I'm scared that I'm just going to buy this and then be like completely alone, that's absolutely not the case. So know that you have a full group of people backing you and here to support you. All right. And the final question, what is SEO like with your website templates? Like, will I see a drop when I switch? Do you help me understand SEO? Are they optimized for SEO? All of that kind of stuff. So if you're not sure what SEO is, real quick, it stands for search engine optimization. It's really important. Basically, that means yourself, your website getting found on different search engines. The main one being Google. So yeah, like can your website get found there? And not a lot of people realize this, but your actual website design affects your SEO in two big ways. One, if it's not well designed and intuitive, people are going to just leave, and that's going to hurt your SEO because Google will think you aren't solving the issue or answering the search question. So they will show you to less people. So that's like just a huge, like, less technical, but more like, what's the right term? Like creative way that SEO, and your website design connect. And then the big, more structural way is that the back end structure of your website matters for SEO. So specifically the different heading tags. So in Showit, it's under your text property settings. This is not the most important SEO thing, so don't hear me saying that. But if your site has, let's say things that are not very important set up as like the H1 tag, or if it has a bunch of H1 tags on the page, then it's going to be harder for search engines to show your stuff to the right people. It's going to like lower your ranking because Google can't figure out what's the most important thing on the page. So not to get into big SEO discussion there. And if you're like, I don't know what an H1 tag is and all that, it doesn't matter. You don't need to know that. But just know that template and the way they're designed on the back end, more than just the way they look on the front end, can affect your SEO. So I set up my templates very properly for both of those things. And that's not true of every template out there. And if you're a designer listening to this, I just want to throw this in there real quick, then please, please, please look at the text property structure of websites as you build them. That is something I did not always do from the beginning of learning Showit. Like the first maybe one or two websites I did not know about this aspect of the text property settings, and I did not do it that way. So learn that quickly, get good at it, and you're going to help your clients have so much better SEO when you are paying attention to that. But anyway, the back-end structure, so like what all those heading tags are set up as, the order of things when you're editing, using Canvas as well, all of that is stuff that's going to affect the SEO. And again, you can't tell any of that when you're just looking at the template on the front end. So some of these like super, super cheap templates you might see on Etsy, they might not be set up well for SEO. They might look pretty, but it's like on the back end, it might just be a mess. You don't know. So yeah. In addition to that, I include trainings on SEO with your purchase. There's one for blogging SEO and then one for SEO and all of your standard Showit pages that kind of show you how to understand SEO on a really basic level, like enough to do a really good job on your own blogging and on setting up your own website and all of that. So you get that with the course, and people really love those videos. Again, feel super similar to this podcast. It's the kind of thing that if I had not chosen to put it into this course, it could have been a podcast episode, which also though it needed the visual aspect. So it probably wouldn't have worked too well as a podcast because you need to be able to see my screen. But anyway, those are super helpful. And we've had tons of customers rank super high, if not first, for their ideal searches with the templates. Some people worry their SEO will take a hit when they switch platforms. So maybe you're coming from Wix to Showit or Squarespace to Showit. And it's hard to say whether or not that's true because it's so nuanced. So if someone's telling you you'll for sure drop or you for sure won't drop, again, it's more nuanced than that. It totally depends on how your SEO was doing before you're switching. So if you rank for a ton of things and you have consistently for a long time, I think it's more likely that nothing's going to happen. Your SEO will stay the same or go better if you're switching to a template that has better backend settings. But let's say you just got to page 3 for a search you want to rank for. I could see you moving back a little bit, then up again. In reality, though, it's hard to predict. So if someone's telling you like the SEO is 100% going to drop when you switch to Showit, don't listen. There's so much more to it than that. And it really is about the template backend and you knowing how to set up stuff properly for your SEO. And again, I'm happy to explain more of that if you want to email us and you're kind of like, can you talk about that a little bit more? And I want to do some more podcast episodes around SEO as well, because I don't have too many where that's talked about, but I know that's such a huge thing, right? Like we all want people to be able to find us not only from us marketing ourselves directly, but also from things like Google. So super important one there. And that's it. That was number 6. So that's it for today's podcast. And I hope this helps. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope this felt not too techy and more enjoyable to listen to than maybe you were thinking it might. Because again, I know some of these episodes might not feel as fun because it's just technical Showit stuff, right? But I hope you enjoyed this. Share this with a friend. If you have a fellow business owner friend who's struggling with Showit versus another platform, maybe they're struggling to understand how a template works. I hope you'll share this with them. And I hope to see you join the M-Shop family. You'll love it. I'd love to have you. I'd love to celebrate you when you launch your own website. And these templates, again, are designed to be easy for you to use as a non-designer. They're strategic, they're fun, and they're set up for you to be able to make a uniquely you online presence that attracts the people you want to attract. So you can go shop them all at elizabethmccravey.com/shop. And any links I've mentioned in the episode, we're going to put in the show notes too. So if you want to watch that Showit Blueprint course video and some things like that, you can just click over, as well as those various coupon codes I mentioned and deals. I'm going to link to possibly even more deals than what I mentioned because I got all kinds of deals on things like Kajabi and Thrivecart and Dubsado and all of that. So I'll link to those as well. So hope you enjoyed this and we'll be back next week with another episode. Thank you for listening to this podcast episode all the way until the end. I appreciate you being here. And if you enjoyed this episode, then I want to invite you to check out my website template shop too. Over on elizabethmccravey.com, you'll find Showit website templates that are easy to use, strategically designed, and created to help you book more clients and customers. Maybe your current website is really boring. Maybe it's a challenge to update, and maybe even it's that thing that you really feel like is just completely holding your business back. Your website needs to be strategically and intentionally designed in order for it to convert your viewers into raving customers, and that's exactly what my M-Shop templates do. So these are pre-made Showit website templates where you can plug and play your content into it with ease and then get started with a website that's designed to actually help you make more money. These templates are designed to be SEO friendly on the back end, and they're not just pretty, but they are very strategic and with all the strategies I teach on this podcast. And best of all, they're easy for you to set up all by yourself. So shop them at elizabethmccravey.com/shop and come join the M-Shop family of hundreds of happy customers. And as an added perk, you can use the code BBPodcast at checkout to get 10% off any template as a thank you for being a part of the podcast family. So that's BB Podcast for 10% off any template over at elizabethmccravey.com. And if you love this podcast, don't forget that you can subscribe on Apple Podcasts so that you never miss an episode, and leave a rating and review for the show wherever you're listening. Share it with a friend, share it on Instagram or Facebook. That's a great way to support the podcast and get the word out. All right, I'll be back next week with another new episode.